Recording start. Hello, bonjour, assalamu alaikum, ni hao, hola, and holler if you hear me. Today in the morning, I made a comment on a deck profile on the branded Facebook group. And I got a response asking me for the deck list because, like, in said post, I was commenting on a homie had said, like, Fenrir on the board, like, if you make the typical branded board plus Fenrir, it's usually pretty intimidating. And I'll agree. I've had a lot of friends tell me I used to have like intimidating end boards, and I had a point where it seemed kind of simple, and then I like ramped it up again. And I'll try and go into a bit of that and some of my own evolution with the deck, and some of my own personal discoveries. This is as close as I could remember to my deck that I had started playing branded with, and it's also one of my deck lists that I have made that has Fenrir in it that did alright, and it's kind of the most interesting one other than just, hey, here's branded with 2 Fenrir. But before I get into it, you will notice that I'm not playing some cards that most people are playing. I'll get into it. Or I'm not playing some cards I would typically be playing, I should say. We'll go with Rinbrum. We'll go with Quem. The 3 fusion deployments. And Gold Sark. These cards should be in your deck if you're playing competitively. If you can't afford Quem, just wait till the tins come out, I guess. I still gotta send my little brother a copy of Quem. The reasoning behind not playing these cards was this one, I didn't really like. I saw the utility in it, but it's like I'd almost rather just keep the cards I'm banishing with the strategy I had in mind. These, I didn't really know about fusion deployment and branded. Like, I kind of had to peek some deck profiles and just see how people were using it. And yeah, fusion deployment is a really good card. It's come out in a few different structure decks, like the Cyber Strike, so there's no reason you shouldn't have fusion deployment. Quem, go back and watch my Syac opening. You'll see where I pulled this copy of Quem. Since then, she's always been in my deck. Rinbrum, go back to my Photon Hypernova box opening. You'll see where I pulled him. With this dude, I'm going to start getting into the profile because I'm running 2 of Fallen of Albaz in this profile. At the time when I had started playing branded, I didn't really think Albaz's effect would be worth the normal summon compared to other cards, especially when he counts as Fallen of Albaz for your fusions. So, like, and for other cards. So I was like, just play 2. Don't really want to get it in your opening hand when you want something else. And, like, you'll end up just returning it to the deck anyways. But I've had a lot of situations where having the 3rd one really avoids a lot of resource management. 2 Blazing Cartesia, just because I pulled her in the Megaton, and she's really just free if you have either of them in your graveyard. She's a free summon. That's kind of something I was looking at, is how many special summons and free summons and whatnot can I pack into this deck. We got Aluber, like it doesn't take someone that's never played the deck very long to figure out he's the best normal summon. The guy that we probably came here to see is 2 copies of Kashtira Fenrir. When I was making the deck, I noticed that, and we'll get into this with some other spice. I'm going to do a bit of a spice column here. Yeah, maybe I'll talk about the spice column later. Bestials. Yeah, I'll talk about the spice column later. I played like a full 4 lineup bestial line. Played Dark Magician because like I didn't know you couldn't activate Mirror Jade under Shifter. I just thought like the deck doesn't have a whole lot of negates, like might as well just throw Dragoon in there. We have our little bird, Tri-Brigade Mercourier. He has not left. Our other Despians, Adlib and Despair, they have not left. A card I have axed since then is Dramaturge. He's really good, but he's kind of reliant on your own board state and situations. I got 2 Ash and 1 Nib, and those are like, one's a cross out target, the other one's like, I wouldn't mind seeing it as a hand trap, but I would much prefer to just cross out it. On to the spell line. Got 3 Branded Fusion, best card in the deck. 3 Branded Opening, just like I was saying. I was trying to pack a lot of special summons into this. Special summon this guy off of this. Here's Branded Fusion. It's 9 copies of Branded Fusion. It doesn't take someone a very long time to realize that. 3 Crossout Designator, because ever since my very first time playing this deck, I hate that this card gets this card every single time. I actually got physically sick one time, it happened so much. So, that for that. Called by the Grave, because we would much rather just play 4 Called by the Grave if we could. Play 3 Called by the Grave if you can. Branded in Red. It's a very good card. As soon as I found one in my collection, I put it in. It lines up very well with your Despians. I might just hope to show you a combo line with that. Forbidden Droplet, because it's just always good. Always good to have Forbidden Droplet. There's a lot of cards that I ended up throwing into this deck with the intention of sending to the graveyard. And we'll go into that a little bit as I break down the spice row. We got the 2 copies of the Branded Continuous Spells, Regained and Lost. Because when I started playing, didn't really understand Lost. I would sooner set Regained. But I knew that when you do Lost, you get Search. There were even times when I wouldn't play Lost, or I'd cut it because I didn't really understand it. I would even sooner play Beast than Lost when I started playing the deck before I understood how Lost works. When I learned how Lost works, you can take both these cards out and the deck will still run fine. But I did not know how it worked, so I favored a heavier Bestial lineup because, like, Branded Beast plus Bestial Druisworm, that's like 2 cards removed from the field. Branded Retribution, I was on this card when I started for different reasons than you should be. I wasn't paying too much attention to the graveyard effect, even though it does fall into that category of cards that have good graveyard effects that you can discard and get value out of. It was more so a matter of its first effect. like it's negate a special summon, and it's speed 3. It's same speed as Solemn Judgment. Your opponent cannot, unless they have a counter trap, they can't interact with it. To this day, I still think that branded players, we should think about running Retribution at 2, maybe even 3 in a bigger deck list. Because, like, you want to try and use these effects as often as possible. Like, I would say try and use both. Get into the habit of using both. Because it's really good at, like, stopping the one thing that you need them, like, really causing that hiccup in the flow. I had 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence because spacing gets pretty big. You don't really want to waste it on hand traps and whatnot. And I had more prioritized Cross Out and the Fusion line. Spice cards. Back in with the Spice Girls. Branded Banishment. That is some spice. It is good. It is in an archetypal. But if you draw that card, you don't have a way to have a Despian or a level 8 Fusion in the grave, it's dead. It's dead as hell. These are my 2 personal favorite cards since the dawn of time. I used to play these cards very often in every single deck I would play. I came to Branded, and we'll get into it a little bit later. Well, actually, I'll get into it right now. Screw it. I came to Branded from Felgrand. I made the jump from playing Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand because his effect is when he's special summoned from the graveyard, he'll banish a monster from your opponent's field or graveyard and then gain attack based on that monster's level if it had one. Or rank. And that's not once per turn. So what you do is you'd make sure you would have both of these guys in the grave, or what my strategy was if I had, like, hold up. If I was going up against a board with, like, 3 monsters with, like, heavy negates, I would hit the droplet, send all 3 of these guys. Now their effect monsters are turned off. Play Branded Fusion. I'd send Felgrand. Then I go through the whole Branded lineup. Get the Mirror Jade, pop the last thing, go in for the attack. In the standby phase of the next turn, he revives him automatically. Then you banish more resources from your opponent's graveyard. That was kind of the name of the game with Branded Felgrand. Is you just, yeah, I'll banish it. Just keep banishing it. Oh, you got no monsters left in your deck? Because I banished them all? That's cool. But Felgrand ended up being really only powerful on turn 3. By the time, a lot of the times you've already kind of decided either won or lost in the modern game. He's just power crept. He's too old. He don't work. But his support cards work. So, if you don't know, Return of the Dragon Lords, it would probably see a lot more play in Branded Synchro. And when you see my extra deck, you'd probably think I'm on Branded Synchro. But this card, let me read it to you. Target a level 7 or 8 dragon monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If a dragon monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard. So this was going to be protecting a lot of my dragon monsters and my dragon fusion monsters from being destroyed in the graveyard. So it's like there, it's basically like Branded Opening, but just for dragons. So it's there, opponent Raigekis, you banish it, and your dragons are safe. It does not save worms, so sorry Mirror Jade, you still get to go, but we get your Raigeki effect in the end phase. So that's that spice. Because again, I viewed this deck as a deck with a lot of cards you need to discard. So I wanted to include cards that have value being discarded. Breakthrough skill. In the graveyard, it's basically imperm. Your opponent activates a monster effect, assuming you sent it or discarded it last turn for any of your discard effects, then you just banish it from the graveyard to negate. Like, still to this day think Breakthrough Skill is a slept on card. Just in general. Fenrir, the real creme de la creme, the one you've been waiting for. He is a just virtually free all of the time, whether you're going first or second, just, yeah, I see him in my hand, I'll special summon him. If you're going first, you may even need cards to discard, so you'll search the other one. Or you may need materials for your Chimera, so you have another Fenrir. That's a monster. You still haven't even committed to your normal summon. So, like, the only normal summons this deck really needed was Aluber and maybe Cartesia. That's kind of what we were going for. As well, just like was mentioned in the video, or in the Facebook post, just adding Fenrir to the deck makes it a lot scarier. You can just discard the one you just searched to keep the ball rolling. Like, it's free value. I viewed this deck as being a deck that needed a lot of like value to keep the ball rolling. I still think that's kind of why people play Chimera, is because it's a card that has a lot of value and gets the ball rolling. Go into the side deck here. I have, and keep in mind, a disclaimer, this deck I was playing back when tier limits were still like decently good, and like a lot of the Shizu cards weren't banned. So this is like a really old deck list, but homie wanted to see the old deck list, so I'm making the old deck list. Got 2 Droll and Lockbirds, 2 Lava Golems, because my opinion of cards like them is you don't really want to see them in too many copies. 1 Dino Wrestler Pankatops, because just like Fenrir, he's a very free summon, a free interaction. This was like Alex's deck. This wasn't a branded deck. This was like my pile deck that was branded. We got the 3 Cosmic and the Feather Duster, because this will interrupt continuous spells and traps and field spells. It's really good for that. You always need that. And you can also, like, on a whim, shotgun it when your opponent sets like 4 and passes if they're Lab or Dinomorph. I've gotten a Dinomorph Frenzy off of rolling the dice on a Cosmic. It felt really good. We have my 3rd copy of Imperm because it was still my favorite card, and it was a trap card. As you will see, these cards, the 3 Evenlies and the 2 Solemn Judgments, are kind of different situationally. Evenlies I play going second, because like it's one of the more powerful cards going second. I'd say all of these cards are just, it's all just of the thought of I hate going second, but over time I've become a lot more comfortable just in engine going second. It hasn't really been that intimidating of a thing when you play branded. Because you can just set Albaz and play Super Poly, and like there's a lot of their board gone, depending on what deck they play, or a lot of their like really damaging things Got 2 Mirror Jades for the extra deck we're rolling into now. 1 Lubellion, Albion, 2 Albions, Titaniclad, Sprint, because I still think he's really good. I was on him back in the day. Albalenitis, because Dragon Links were pretty kind of annoying. And, like, the fact that he gets multiple attacks. I used to, like, pair him with Dark Honest, and, like, he would just very freely attack over 2 monsters and clear the board. We got Masquerade and Queritus, because Masquerade is just, when your opponent's burning 600 every effect, it just puts a real timer on them. Because a lot of people need to activate a lot of effects. And like, it doesn't take a noob to figure that out. I've got the Dragoon because he's cool. Oh yeah, Queritus. Forgot to mention him because, like, the ability to turn everything but fusions to 0 attack, that's pretty cool. Use him to clear the game. So, like, Queritus plus Ad Libitum, that's basically a very easy win con. I've done that a lot. Guardian Chimera, because he's really good. We got Grand Wignall, because sometimes you just need something for Cartesia to fuse into. And my 2 kind of different input monsters are Bestial Dispater and Despian Lulu-Lilith. This banish to get this is pretty good, especially when she'll trigger off a Mirror Jade. So, like, you banish something, cents for the cost, because a card left the extra deck, you negate something else. It would be really cool if I ever actually even got the chance to do that. Because every time I've been able to resolve Grand Wignall, I haven't had Lulu-Lilith in my deck. And every time I've had Lulu-Lilith in my deck, I haven't been able to resolve Grand Wignall. So I'm gonna get into a bit of a play test here. Let's see if this deck has actually survived the ages. It is, like, I wouldn't actually copy this deck profile, but let's just see what we make off of it. Maybe I'll get to showcase the utility of the Fenrir that I showed off. Maybe I'll just do like a couple random hands, see how that looks, and then I'll just like lay out a hand. Make sure you shuffle correctly enough. I heard there was some controversy about players shuffling another player's deck, but I wasn't there, I didn't see it, and I'm just going off of rumors, so I'm not one to talk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, that's not really what we want optimally. Let's see what the 6th card is. It's a droplet, so it kind of does and doesn't go back to what I was saying. I don't even see a whole lot we can do with this other than just get a Bestial. It's a better going second hand. It would imply that we had something on the opponent's turn to interact with. Because I would say the play with that is to just droplet the board, normal summon Albaz and make Mirror Jade. From there, your plays are entirely dependent on the deck that your opponent's playing. If they're on a light or dark deck, like get your Druid Worm or out there, get to battling. 3, 4, 5. That's kind of like but I guess still get to go and do something. Draw phase, standby main. We'll do Albion. Send Retribution. Put that to the bottom. Getting in perm. Sweet. Oh, fuck. Well, normal summon Blazing Cartesia, assuming they were to interact with it in some way. You have the crossouts. Well, I'll assume they don't. Fuse it her with Albaz. Ranguignol. Ranguignol effect will send Soraneer effect. Send Branded Fusion. Retribution effect. Add back Branded Fusion. Play Branded Fusion. Assume they know we're on Branded and they try to ash us there as soon as they seen the Cartesia. They thought they were slick. But ha ha. We got the cross out. Oh yeah. I kind of forgot about a step. We already used the normal summon. Send our other Albaz. Did I already go past him? I think I did. Yeah, he's... No, I didn't go past him. I just didn't go that far. Do Rebellion. Lubellion and Albaz make Albion. Albion banishes Soraneer and Albaz to make Lubellion. Lubellion will discard our other cross out because we don't need it anymore. We already got the optimal use out of it. Shuffle them back. Nope. We'll shuffle them back. Knock. We'll try to stick with the Lulu Lilith end fate or end goal. Do Rebellion trigger or tribute, sorry. That's a card in our hand. Could be anything. Bestial Rebellion to set. Lost. Actually, show you guys something that you would and would not normally want to do. Because this is kind of funny when this works out. Regained. Because we're going to hit the wall running a little bit. Do Mirror Jade. We'll send Titaniclad to banish Lubellion. Do Regained to return the Lubellion. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm preparing for something else. Hey, I didn't actually. You seen it. I didn't go to the back. I just looked at the top like 3 or 4. You seen it. You seen it. But the other reason we'll do that is because we already have Albaz and Cartesia in the graveyard. We now have many more end phase triggers that are pretty cool. We will do Titaniclad. This is why I was looking. Because Titaniclad will do some funkiness. It would be cooler if I had Quem. It'd be cooler if I had Quem. That was, would have been a lot cooler if I had Quem. Damn. We'll just special summon Albaz, so why not? Because Albion will trigger. I just remembered, I don't have Quem in this profile. I'm just so used to doing that typical line that that's where my brain goes. So, what we got is the Imperm set behind the Mirror Jade we've kind of already used. We'll get Cartesia back to hand. The fact that I don't have Quem really upset that line. Because now I can't even double Mirror Jade. But we still get the Chimera. So we'll go into the presumed end phase and then pass the turn. Mirror Jade's still standing there with his Raigeki effect, so at least that's alright. That's set. We have Ash ready to go for something. We'll assume that this actually happens, and we get Lilith. As I understand, you can also use her effect when she is summoned. You can activate it in response to her own summon. That may or may not be true, though. So now we'll return Grind Wignall, though. Draw our extra card. Hey, there's the Fenrir we were talking about. Bad timing, guy, but it is pretty good because now we get to activate our Branded in Red. Target Albaz, return him to the hand. Use Fenrir, Albaz, and our spent Mirror Jade. Get Chimera. He'll do his. I think that is pop 2, draw 1. Hey, we got Dark Magician and Albaz. So we'll hope that through the Imperm, the Ash that was also in our hand, the Lilith negate, and the Chimera pop into. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty much the whole hand. It's pretty much their whole hand. So now we'll draw the card to start the turn. Hey, it's my other favorite card, Return of the Dragon Lords. We will normal summon Blazing Cartesia. No, because we can actually do it this way. We can normal summon Albaz, and then special summon Blazing Cartesia. If you don't already have game, this is going to make you game. She will hard fuse them two into your Dragoon. Dragoon, your perfect discard fodder. She will also be able to activate. You got some goodness going on. We started to fall apart, but we got back together. Think that I will actually, while I'm here, show off a slightly more optimal lineup. A slightly more optimal lineup. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll use just cross out again. Cross out is kind of the best card to have in this situation. So my hand-picked hand for this demonstration is going to be, because this is actually the type of thing that I wanted to show off. I didn't really want the last couple test times I got. We got Fenrir. We have Cross Out for the Branded Fusion. We have our Dark Magician and our Blazing Cartesia. That is our 5-card hand. Draw face, stand by main. Before you do anything, priority number 1 is Fenrir. Fenrir search. A lot of people will assume you're on cash when you do this, so they'll want to ash that. So if they ash that, you almost just want to let that go. Because in terms of this hand here, you'd be at the same amount of card advantage as if you didn't. And you crossed it out. But we'll assume they don't have ash. We don't need to use our cross out here. We'll add Fenrir. The one to search off the Fenrir, because you can do that. We'll normal summon Cartesia before we even get into anything. Now, hit the Branded Fusion. Now hit the Branded Fusion. We'll send... My brain farting. Albaz and Lubellion. Albion to banish the Dark Magician, whom many would consider to be a brick. That's why he's not a brick. You can just use him as your dark material. Like, he's not as bad a brick as you could have. So that makes our Lubellion. So, going back to the need to have cards to discard thing. Assuming one of these went off, you would want the other one. Like, you would want to keep one of these cards in your hand, so either way, if they were to ash one, you'd keep the other one. If they didn't ash this, you would have the Fenrir to search off, or to discard now. We're just assuming they didn't have either, or they didn't try to ash either of those, or they didn't have ash. So now, since we're in this situation, we'll discard cross out designator because it's already fulfilled its purpose. That's C1. C2, the Cartesia. Yes. Yes. Uses them too. And 2. What the fuck is it? No, that's not it. Greg Wignall. We will return. Got a couple of options here. Yeah, we'll return Dark Magician and Lubellion. That makes him. So we still have our other card to discard to use his effect. So he is live. We have an Albaz and Banish, so we don't really have too much of the value we were looking for branded in red plays, but that's fine. Grand Wignall will use its effect because we made it. Oh shit, it's tucked behind my thumb. Soranir will use its effect. Dump Retribution effect. Get you back your Brand of Fusion. Back to 2 cards in hand. Lubellion, tribute over. Activate his effect. We will set Regained. Proceeding into the end phase, we will do Albion. I'll set Branded Banishment. Because our, what the hell was it? Because our other card is not live. And Branded in red is not live right now. So it's good to have other targets you can use on your opponent's turn, like the traps. You can also set Branded Beast. So actually, kind of, for what I have in my extra deck right now, I kind of like Branded Beast a little bit more. So we'll set Branded Beast with our 2 cards in hand. We will pass the turn, flip the card, got Branded Beast. We also have Regained, so we'll special summon, assuming they summon. Use Beast, pop the thing they summoned. Assuming they have an effect, we can also banish something. Let's assume they special summon a monster. We'll banish that. Special summon, where did she go? Special summon our Lulu with Lilith. Activate that, return that, draw the card. Oh wait. Ah, that's funny. He needs the discard for the negate, so we'll discard a Brand of Fusion so that we just drew. That could have been any card. Could also discard this Fenrir. So we have Beast pop a card, him to negate something, she negates something on summon, Fenrir to banner something face down. It's really not that bad. So that was kind of the optimal hand. Let's see what the next card was. No, it's a droplet, so I don't know. Oh yeah, I forgot, you could have added her to the hand too. And then with them two, go into your Dispater. As the card developers had desired. I hope that that gives some people some ideas on some strategies and deck building ideas, different ways to approach it. This is by no means branded Kashtira. This is Alexander Thiessen's pile deck that he started playing. I have moved away from this deck. If you want a more up-to-date deck profile, I have one up on my channel already. Go check it out. I just did it on like a week ago. Anyways, I hope that you found this somewhat informative. And yeah, that was branded with Kashtira and some other options that assist the theory of what Fenrir is trying to do in the deck. Like, just give you value out of having cards discarded. Or extra searches. Anyways, that'll be all for today. Peace out.